Hi, it's Alex Zuzik here again, and today my video is going to be about SQ3R, which stands for Survey, Question, Read, Recite, Review. It is a during reading strategy that I think would be most beneficial for students in grades 10 through 12. However, with enhancement and help, younger students will be able to do it. So, um, the prior knowledge needed for this strategy would just be maybe a little bit about whatever subject you're going to have the students read, and also, how to read, but that's kind of implied with all of these. There wouldn't be any super specific though. So what's good about it is that it can be during the introductory part of the reading of the text and stuff like that. So that's helpful. All right, so background. It's a comprehension strategy that helps students think about the text they are reading while they're reading. It's also used as a study strategy, which helps students get it right the first time because it makes them go in depth, and then it helps them remember that. So that's helpful. The strategy includes the 5 following steps. So first, survey. Students review the text to gain initial meaning from headings, bolded text charts. So it's a really quick skim. Look for the highlighted sections, bolded things, definitions, look at the figures. Second part is questions. So then the students begin to generate questions about their reading after they do their initial survey skim. So based on those bolded, say I was going through textbook and I saw it was a biology textbook and it said non-vertebrates. A question then on would be what are non-vertebrates or something like that. Read. As students read, they need to look for answers to the questions they formulated. So they try and read it and answer the question. So to answer the question of what is a non-vertebrate, I would just have to read that, and that's a pretty simple example. And then this also helps focus students' text because it helps them focus in on what they thought was most important from the first time. So that's pretty cool too. Alright, the 4th step, recite. So as students move through the text, they should recite or rehearse the answers to their questions and make notes about their answer for later studying. So that's where it comes in as a study strategy. It really helps them for later because they can write down different definitions, they can draw illustrations, things that make it clear to them what the definition of a word would be or what an answer to one of their questions would be. And the last step, review. And so after reading, the students review the text to answer lingering questions, some of the tougher ones that they may not have. Maybe they just need to read it one more time and go through it a little slower. Maybe they need to ask a question, that's fine. And then they should also, as part of reciting, they should read through and recite one more time the questions that they've already asked and successfully answered. So I would also be reading and reciting the question and the answer about the non-vertebrates. Alright, the benefits for this are that it helps students really understand what they've read. A lot of times students, they'll be asked to read something, particularly a challenging text, and they won't be exactly sure what they just read when they're done because it's just they're focusing so much on putting the sentence together coherently that they don't always get out the information, and this helps them. This really helps clarify the information. And it helps to activate their thinking, and it keeps reviewing and cementing new knowledge throughout the reading, so that's pretty huge as well. It also dissuades students from waiting and then cramming for tests because if you do this throughout a unit, they'll continually be studying as they are initially learning, which is pretty cool to combine actually because a lot of times we think about you read something for the first time and then it's kind of in your brain or at least slightly. Then when you're studying, it's just reviewing, and it's pretty often it's removed, the initial read's over here and studying's over here. But with this, they're a lot closer together. Obviously, that's kind of cool. All right, so to actually create and use this strategy, it has a sister strategy, which is question-answer relationship. It requires the teacher to follow this model. So first, you explain to students that effective readers do many things while reading, including surveying, questioning, reading, reciting, and reviewing. And then you choose a content area passage to read and model the 5 SQ3R steps. You have to give them a model because they may not know how to do it, because they may not have done it before. But once you get them to do it once, it'll be pretty clear and easy to remember how to do it for most students. 3 during each step. Not only make your model, but also explain what you're doing and why you're doing it, right? So explain how it helps their brain, because then I think it'll make it more worthwhile for them, and they're more likely to receive it well if they know exactly what's happening and why it works well. The fourth step after your modeling session, invite students to independently read a selection, whether it's a couple pages or it's a chapter, or it's like 5 pages, 10 pages. Not a huge deal, but it could be completed in class if you want to just do a couple pages, or at take-home as if you want to do like 10 pages. And then ask students to review their notes and reflect on the process after they've done all the 5 steps. And then ask them to answer this question: were they surprised by how well they remember it after using the SQ3R? And lastly, students may not be sold on this strategy the first time they try it because it's a little bit time consuming, and it sometimes could be used incorrectly and make pretty simple text more complex than it needed to be. And not all texts are going to be worth that time. But the ones that are, and the ones that you use this for, are going to end up being very valuable for students, as they will remember things very well. So I would recommend using it for the main points, or like really important readings, if like your social studies or English. If you're science, maybe like do something like when they're about to read about, if you're doing body systems and they're about to read about the respiratory system, this might be a good idea because that's generally considered a pretty important one. All right. Thank you. Have a great day.